Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to spend some time up here at the chicken coop because honestly it's been neglected a little bit. I am going to show you how I am pruning some shrubs, perennials, what I am touching, what I am leaving. I'm going to take you step by step through this. We've done a couple of these videos and y'all just keep telling me, give me more, give me more, give me more. So that is what we are doing. We're just going to jump from one plant to the next. I'm going to try to give you as many plants as possible because this garden certainly does have the variety of gorgeous shrubs, perennials, both full sun and in the shade. So I'm going to give you lots of good information on what you can be doing in your garden. Of course, I am in North Carolina, a zone 8A. It is a beautiful sunny day here. It is chilly and the wind is blowing, but hey, the sun is out, so I am happy. If you don't have snow on the ground, so that could be any kind of zone, maybe this information applies to you right now in this calendar moment. If you were buried in snow, then you're going to take all this information and you're just going to delay it a little bit, right? Obviously, if you're buried in snow, then you can't do this, but you will need to do this once that snow melts, it begins to thaw, you begin to thaw out and you are itching to get back into the garden. So just save this video and then reference it back when it is time for you to get into your garden. So without further ado, we're just going to jump right on in. The first thing that we are going to prune today are my hydrangeas. Now, you don't have to do it right now, but I'm in the garden and I'm here and I am going to take care of it. There are two kinds of hydrangeas that you can prune in the late winter, early spring, and you're still guaranteed to have flowers. Those are your panicles. This is that classic limelight. So any of your panicles, if you'll know it's a panicle because it'll have that like a cone-shaped flower on it. And typically they're going to be in that white cream. They're color specific, okay? So those are your panicles. Also, right next door, I have a arborescens. This is a smooth hydrangea. This is the gorgeous, very popular Haas Halo. A sweet friend of mine gave it to me. And so your smooth hydrangeas, you can prune as well because you're going to get gorgeous flowers every year because they bloom on that new growth, that new wood. We prune them because we want to encourage new growth and they bloom on new growth, so they're going to have lots of flowers. So your smooths will include so like your Annabelles, your Incredibles, your Invincibles, whether it's the Ruby, Lametta, Sublime, it does not matter, right? Those are going to be your ones that you can prune. The ones you do not want to prune are going to be your oak leaf hydrangeas, your serratas, your lace caps, and your macrophylla hydrangeas. All of those bloom on old growth, the growth that happened last year, and if you prune them now, you're going to cut off your flowers. So we do not want to do that. Now, with your panicles and your smooths, you're going to prune them the exact same way. You can safely take them back by 1/3, 1/4. If you want to keep it kind of relatively the same size, take it back a little bit more on that 1/3. Maybe close to 1/2 size. If you're trying to encourage new growth, maybe you have a brand new hydrangea that's nice and little, just take off a little bit, right? You don't have to take off 1/3 of it. And ideally, you're going to want to prune right above the two little leaf nodules, those little growth plates where those little leaves are going to pop out. We want to cut there because those two leaves are going to come out and they're going to produce two new stems. It is as simple as that, y'all. Every stem, go ahead and cut it. If you've got some really thin, spindly ones at the bottom, it's totally okay to cut them all the way back to those main stems. We want to encourage new growth so that we get beautiful flowers. So I'm going to prune this and then I'm going to show you what it looks like at the very end. All right, friends, so limelight has been taken back. I went ahead and I have two limelights. Both limelights have been taken back. Haas Halo has been taken back. And then I have two little lime punches that have been taken back. At the end of the video, we're going to walk through everything and I'm going to show you these things up close. Also, I'm going to show you what I am not going to touch, right? So I'm going to explain why I'm not touching it and then when I am going to prune it. Right beside of me, I have got a rose standard in this pot. So It is time to prune your roses if you are in the southeast. January is the time to prune it. I did a whole video earlier this week on exactly how to do a shrub rose, a climbing rose, and a standard. So we're going to take care of this one really quickly, and then we're going to move on to some summer sweets that also need to be pruned. All roses, with the exception of some old heirloom climbers, they will bloom on new growth. Now, you want to prune your roses. Y'all, I don't care if it's a David Austin, if it's a Proven Winners, if it's a knockout, if it is your one that you got there in your house and they were there, any kind of rose, with the exception of the old heirloom varieties that are massive climbers. You'll know if you have one of those. They bloom on new growth. We want to encourage new growth, bring the plant back so that it flushes out with beautiful flowers. Depending on where you are is going to depend on when you cut your roses, you prune your roses in the calendar year. This baby is already pushing out new growth. It already has new leaves and the little leaf buds are beginning to swell. That is your like red flag. Wah, wah, wah. You need to prune it. You don't want to wait. You can, but you ideally don't want to wait until it flushes out in brand new growth. You want to get it before it flushes out. So if I don't care if you're in a zone 6 right now and you're cold, it is cold here in North Carolina, relatively speaking, it's still pushing out new growth. We need to prune it. You're not going to hurt the plant by pruning it in the wintertime. Generally speaking, we want to have a nice shape to the plant. You're shaping the plant and we're getting rid of any broken canes, any diseased canes, any dead canes, just bringing it back. Super simple. Ideally, you can cut it right above those little leaf swells and just prune it back. Any growth you want to take off, because if you're plagued with black spot, let's get rid of that. This is something we don't compost, we put it in the trash. I'm gonna bring her back. She's gonna be a little nub and it'll be just fine. All right, my friends, so here we have 3 summer sweets. This is vanilla spice. Summer sweets are great because they are a native plant to North America. They are deer resistant. They love to be in wet areas. And I actually have 1, 2, and 3 right here. Obviously, this one gets more water than this one, and definitely the one behind. Nothing in this garden is on irrigation, but this is my biggest one, so I know that this one's getting the more water naturally when it rains and so forth. Now, your vanilla spices are gorgeous because they bloom in the summertime. These beautiful long, I mean, this thing is like 8 to 10 inches long of a bloom. Pure white flowers. They smell divine. Oh my gosh. And they're a nice manageable size. They're in that, I want to say that 4-ish foot range. So they're not going to overtake your garden. So if you're looking for something that blooms in the summer, beautiful fragrance to it, attracts the pollinators, and big bird yellow foliage in the fall, then vanilla spice is a good one. It's very similar, y'all, to all the other shrubs that bloom on new growth. We're going to take it back by like 1/3 to 1/2 if you want to. If you're trying to keep it the size that it is, take it back by 1/3. If you need to reduce the size, take it back by 1/2. And it's as simple as that. There are little, it's already starting to see little leaf buds popping out. Ideally, if you want to prune it above a branch, then that's great. Y'all, if you don't and you have hedge trimmers, you absolutely, on all of these plants, could just take the hedge trimmers to them and just prune them back to a ball. They're gonna look like a ball for, a couple of months. As soon as they flush out, they're gonna get their fun, funky growth on them. That's why we prune at the end of winter, or it's not really the end of winter, but for us, they're starting to show some growth, right? We ignore the seasonal calendars here in North Carolina in the South because by the time it's actually officially spring, it is quite warm here. So we listen to the plants, not necessarily what the calendar says. pay attention to your plants. So by the time they start flushing out, they're gonna be really pretty and nice and full. So you're gonna have a little bit of a ball shape, a little sticks for a little bit. It's okay, you're not probably in your garden a ton right now anyway. So yeah, I'm just going to take it back, and then like I said, once I'm done pruning everything, I'm gonna take you through real quick the garden and show you what everything looks like when it's officially been pruned. All right, my friends, I think we've gotten all of the shrubs to prune that need to be pruned in the wintertime. So we're gonna move on to perennials. Lenten roses, hellebores. Y'all, they're starting to put on some buds. Here we have one, a gorgeous one, beautiful pinky, kind of a mauve red color in this pot. Now, the key about pruning your hellebores, y'all, it is so simple because the plant is going to show it to you. Whether it's in a container or the landscape, it doesn't matter. Your old foliage is going to begin to lay down, like these guys right here. You're going to have brand new growth come up from the center, fresh, pretty foliage with your flower buds. It could not be easier. Simply go to those old stems, go back as far as you can in the plant and cut them off. I mean, it is as easy as that. Now this is a small one because she's a young plant, so there's not a whole lot to cut off. But I mean, yeah, boom, there you go. I do have some much more mature, older ones that are closer to the house, and I mean, they are huge. So yeah, it takes a little bit more time to come in and trim them out. The idea is we want to get rid of that old foliage so that the new foliage can come up and really shine, and that your flowers can shine. You may have some old foliage coming out of the top too. It may not lay perfectly down like this did. If you've got, I mean, you'll know it's brown, it's tattered, it's ratty looking. It just looks tired, right? So find those, go back as far as you can and cut. Easy peasy as that. So we're gonna move on to some other perennials. Now we're moving on to daylilies. Y'all, this could not be more simple. I mean, sometimes I even hate telling you some of these things because I'm like, maybe this, I don't want to insult your intelligence, but daylilies, right? Here in the South, we do adore some daylilies, and they are just great, beautiful, easy perennials that give us lovely flowers. I know people are going to say, I would love daylilies, but the deer eat them, and I'm sorry. So daylilies, easy peasy. I still have some green growth. Y'all, when I say it's been cold, I mean, it has been cold. We've had multiple, like, I don't even know how many multiple nights of like in the teens. So it's not like we haven't had freezes. We have had really cold weather for North Carolina, and so yet you still have some green on it. The old foliage lays down, and so you just come along and it will, sometimes you got to work it a little bit, but it'll pull out, right? So we just want to get rid of the old, sad, tired, and you're not going to hurt it. Like, you can get in there, you've got some aggression, take your aggression out and just yank on it and pull on it, right? So we do this. It's not going to affect really the blooms of the plant, like maybe some of those, like our shrubs where we want to prune those. This is a neat and tidy kind of situation, right? We do this because we want the plants to look neat and tidy. They're going to bloom no matter if you pull this off or not next, well, I guess it would be this summer, right? And so we're just doing this so that it looks really nice and neat and put together. So easy as that. I'm going to get the other two done here. Then we're going to move on to peonies. I'm way behind on my peonies, but it needs to be done, so we're going to do those too. Peonies. Peonies are probably one of the absolute one of the most classic garden perennials that there is. Of course, we love them because in the springtime they give us those massive, beautiful, a lot of times fragrant flowers, and they are stunning. I am behind on pruning my peonies. I should have done it probably months ago, but you know what? There is grace in gardening, and it is better late than never. This particular one is Kansas. Kansas is a gorgeous red. It is stunning. Within this like island portion of this the chicken coop garden, I have quite a few peonies. And so y'all, again, you're gonna notice a theme here. If it's these perennials that are herbaceous are herbaceous, meaning they're going to die completely back. There's not going to be anything that comes back from these stems. You're simply going to take them, cut them to the ground, and it is easy as that. So when you have these perennials like your peonies, your summerific hibiscus, your phlox, your grasses, all of these things that all their foliage dies completely back in the winter time, and the new growth comes straight from the rootstock of the plant and not off of any of the current foliage, then those are the ones we're going to cut completely down. Timing is just simply an issue, like we're going to talk about here in a minute when we come through the garden again. I was going to talk about it now, but my perennial grasses, I absolutely could go ahead and cut them right now, but they're giving me winter interest, and they're giving some protection from the birds can go in there and hide. So we're not going to have new growth coming out from those grasses probably anytime soon because it is quite chilly. So I'm going to leave that foliage alone. That could be like a month from now I come back and go ahead and cut them to the ground. So just your timing, and y'all, it's your garden. You can do what you want to in your garden. I am just trying to offer you some guidance and advice and take any kind of fear out of pruning, because that is one of the number one areas of hesitation and anxiety and fear in gardeners. I see it all the time at the garden center. I see it all the time on social media. So I'm trying to give you that knowledge so that you have the power and the confidence to then go out into your garden and prune whatever needs to be pruned, knowing that, okay, Jenny says this is how I'm going to do it. This is what I'm going to do it, and just go for it, right? So that's it. I think what we've got there's a couple more perennials, but basically what I'm going to do is, like I'm talking to you right now, have that these are all herbaceous perennials, and so I'm just going to go ahead and trim them, and then when we do the garden tour, I will show you what they were. Like the summerific hibiscus, we've talked about this many times in the privacy berm, cut it to the ground. I've got some phlox, cut it to the ground, right? And I think, oh, Amsonia. I've got Amsonia. Cut it to the ground. There's a repetitive theme on these perennials. Cut them back, my friends. All right, so I'm going to do that, and then we're going to hop on here for 2 seconds, and in 2 seconds rather, and we're going to do a quick little garden tour and show you the perennials that I just trimmed, and then the plants that I am not touching, because there are certain plants you do not want to touch right now. All right, my friends, so what we're going to do is we're going to walk through the garden, and I'm going to show you the perennials. Well, you're not going to be able to see the perennials because I cut them to the ground, but I'm going to show you where the perennials are that I cut to the ground, and then we're going to talk about what we're not going to touch, because I think that's also just as important to know as to what to prune and how to prune it, as to what to leave alone and not touch. So that's what we're going to do. I'm trying to make this as quick as possible because you know me, I could talk forever in the garden. Here we have these evergreen, there's 3. There's a happy and not so happy right here. These are the Greensboro red camellias. These are japonicas. You can tell that because they have the big, huge leaves on them. They're going to bloom in a couple of months. Well, maybe even sooner. Look, look, look. Here we have a bud. Can you see that little bud right there? If I were to prune this plant right now, I'm going to cut off that flower bud and any other ones that are here, and I am not going to get flowers. So your camellias, they bloom on old growth. All camellias are going to bloom on old growth. Wait until they have flowered. If you want to shape it at that point, you can. Don't do it now. Carex grasses. Now we have feather falls, everillo, and another feather falls back there. The carex, whether the everillos right here, they look sad because they were sad when I planted them in the fall. Just wait till the spring and they flush back out. They'll be gorgeous. So your carex grasses are evergreens. We don't prune them. Just leave them alone. They are not like your some of your other like real true traditional perennial grasses that die completely back. These do not. Leave them alone. Japanese maple, I would not prune a Japanese maple right now. This is a Crimson Queen. She does not need to be pruned. The only reason you would prune them is if you needed to like maybe limb them up or give them a, if they're getting too long, you could kind of cut off the bottom. Wait till she starts to pop out some new growth and then you can prune it then. Coming around to here in the front, we have got some abelias. As a southern gardener, I do love a good abelia. These are Mucho Gustos from Proven Winners. They are amazing. They are an evergreen shrub. Now, do they look gorgeous and in all their glory right now? No, they don't, but that's all right. They still are giving me interest here in the wintertime. You do want to prune these, and when we do prune them, basically we're gonna shape them up, kind of like a little bit of a ball. But we're gonna wait till we get closer to some consistently warm weather. So that could be a month from now, it could be 6 weeks from now. Give them a good shape, but we're just gonna let them sit for right now. Native azaleas, deciduous azaleas, all right? These are absolutely showstoppers in the springtime. The one that we have right here is Snowbird, which is a beautiful white. And you can see she has already put on her buds. All of these are her flower buds. If I were to prune this right now, I have just cut off all my flowers. So your native azaleas, the only time you would want to prune them is if you needed to shape them. They bloom on old growth, leave them alone. It appears that I have a stem that has, well, there's a little growth right here, but it looks like I have some dead in this. I'm gonna wait until it flushes out. Once it flushes out in full growth with the leaves, then I will know, whoops, sorry about that. Then I will know what's dead. If it's dead, obviously go ahead and cut it back, but leave those alone for right now for sure. And we've got multiples in here with those native azaleas. Your evergreen viburnums, leave them alone, they're fine. You've got the blue zinger grass over here in the pot. It too is a carex, leave it alone. No worries on that. This is what I was talking about. This is a panicum. This is, oh shoot, who was this? It's not Niagara Falls. Apache Rose, there it is, it's Apache Rose. I knew it would come to me. So this is what I was talking about. They are completely, the foliage is completely dead. They're not, it's not gonna turn green in the spring, but they're pretty and they give me some interest right here. So what I will do in that 4 to 6 weeks, just depends on the weather, is I will gather it up like a ponytail and cut it to the ground, about 6 inches from the ground, because I will start to have beautiful green growth coming up right here, and I want to cut it before that green growth starts to grow, so I'm not cutting that green foliage, okay? So for now, they're fine, just leave them. They are good. If you want to prune them, if they're driving you crazy, y'all, then go for it. It is not a problem. Butterfly bushes, your buddleias, we're going to wait until we start to see new growth pop out. For us in North Carolina, our buddleias are a semi-evergreen. You can see we have Violet Cascade right here, and y'all, she has got beautiful growth on her, right? She has nice foliage, lots of interest. Remember, she looks funny because a tree fell on her during Helene. But that's all right, because once the temperatures get warmer, that's the perfect time to go ahead and shape it, and it will be fine. Clearly it broke branches and this whole side, but it's okay. But buddleias, wait until you start to see some new growth pop out, and then all is well. Same thing over here with, I have another buddleia. This is a pugster. This is the pugster pinker. We're gonna leave her alone. I've got some quince. This is the double take eternal white. Now, right now she sticks. She's got a little bit of growth on her, but these bloom on old growth as well. Gorgeous double white flower, stunning, absolutely stunning. Some of you may know that I have rabbits, and the rabbits are pruning my my quince. So last year they pruned them for me, and but I did still get some flowers, so yay for that. But if you have quince, don't prune it. That would be preferable. And then El Nino. Y'all, this is one of the plants that you have absolutely been gobbling up, both here at the nursery and online. She is getting some growth to her, right? So this El Nino, from here all the way up. Gorgeous desert orchid, right? So it does these lovely pink flowers, kind of reminds you like a snapdragon-esque flower to it. I am going to prune her because I want to keep her nice and tight and compact, and I'm trying to establish, like it'll be like a small tree, and so I'm trying to establish like those multi-trunks. So right now I've got 4 of them, but I will prune it. So you can see where I pruned it last early spring. So I pruned it here, and then look, I mean, we have got like 2.5, 3 feet worth of growth that it took on last year. These suckers grow so fast, but this is another one that we are going to wait until we start to see some new growth pop out. Once you start to see that new growth pop out, then you can go ahead and prune it. It'll be the same thing. I'll probably take you along for the ride when I do it, but I can see like right here, those are where the little leaf swells are. So that is where you would want to prune it, right above there, and then these are going to turn into branches. So that is that. Let's see, you can see obviously that I've got some more panicle hydrangeas here. These are firelights, and then right over here I have a pufferfish and a pinky winky prime. Need to go ahead and prune those. That's just a whole nother day. So we're just going to leave that. I'm not going to do that today, because you know what? There is grace in gardening. And if you only have, 15 minutes to be in your garden, enjoy those 15 minutes. Don't put pressure. The whole entire garden doesn't have to be done in one day, y'all. There are weeds. There are things that need to be happening in here that need to be cleaned up. It's okay. Have I made good progress today? Absolutely. Should I feel guilty that I didn't get the entire garden done? No. No, not at all. Do not put that pressure on yourself. So do what you can when you can. Enjoy the process. Gardening should bring you joy and pleasure and relaxation, not stress and anxiety, okay? So just breathe. We are in winter, a time of rest, and so I am preaching to myself, my friends, because in my brain I would love to say that this garden is fully done and I don't have to do anything else to it. I got it all done in one day. That's not reality, my friends. So, preaching to myself. It has been a great day. So I hope you have found this informative. That's number one. I hope you have found this informative, that I have passed along some knowledge to you, that you feel confident going out into your garden. And if you have a question about any of your plants, like when to prune it, I always say, ask Professor Google, right? So if you know what the plant is, let's just say you know it's a camellia. When's the best time to prune a camellia? It will come up. When's the best time to prune a holly tree, right? When's the best time to prune a cherry tree? When's the best time to prune a boxwood? Do that. And if you want to put in your zone, like what's the best time to prune a boxwood in zone 8A? You're going to get some good information out there, especially if it comes from one of your universities. Then you're going to get some really good, accurate information on that. Go with that, because I can't possibly tell you every single plant that when it needs to be pruned. I'm just trying to teach you how to learn and how to find the information for yourself. But anyway, y'all have an amazing day. Brent and I are going to go eat some lunch because we're hungry. See you next time, my friends. Bye.